The mysterious device Anrath stood alone, staring at the shimmering device before him. It was a relic from a long-forgotten era, a piece of technology far beyond anything his people had ever created. The faint hum of energy emanated from the device, and Anrath could feel its power coursing through the air. The Resistance had discovered it in an ancient, abandoned world, hidden deep within the uncharted regions of the galaxy. It had taken years to locate it, and now that they had found it, Anrath knew its importance. This device could change the fate of the galaxy. But Anrath was torn. The device had the power to alter the very fabric of the universe itself, to bend space-time, manipulate energy, and rewrite the laws that governed the galaxy. If used wisely, it could bring peace, stability, and prosperity. But if it fell into the wrong hands, it could bring devastation beyond measure. He had come to a decision. He would use the device. The galaxy's future depended on it. The price of power. The device's activation was unlike anything Anrath had ever experienced. A brilliant flash of light enveloped him, and the galaxy around him seemed to shift. Stars blinked in and out of existence, and the space between planets warped in a strange, unpredictable manner. Time itself seemed to bend, but as the device's power flowed through him, Anrath realized the cost of wielding such force. The energy was overwhelming, nearly consuming him. It felt as if the very essence of the galaxy was being rewritten, and Anrath had become both the architect and the destroyer of its future. He struggled to maintain control. The device seemed to have a will of its own, twisting his thoughts, urging him to use its power for purposes far darker than he had ever imagined. The temptation was great, and Anrath had to fight to keep his focus. He had come too far to lose himself now, but just as the power seemed on the verge of overtaking him, a voice broke through his mind, a voice he recognized. It was his closest ally, someone he had trusted above all others. "Anrath," the voice said, "you cannot control it. It's already too late." The betrayal in Anrath's heart sank. The voice belonged to a member of his closest circle, a trusted friend who had fought alongside him for years. But now, Anrath realized that this person was no longer an ally. They had betrayed him. As the truth began to unravel, Anrath discovered that the very friend he had relied on had been working behind the scenes, manipulating him. This betrayal went deeper than mere deception. It was a betrayal of the galaxy itself. The traitor had been working with a powerful, secret faction, one that sought to control the galaxy through manipulation and fear. They had known about the device long before Anrath and had planned to use it for their own gain. The power to alter reality itself was too tempting, and the traitor had fallen into its grasp. Anrath felt a surge of anger and disbelief. How could someone he trusted so deeply have been part of such a treacherous scheme? But there was no time for sorrow. The galaxy was at stake, and the traitor had to be stopped. The final betrayal. When Anrath decided to use the device, he had uncovered a secret that would change the fate of the galaxy. The device had the power to manipulate not only the galaxy's energy structure, but also the fundamental workings of space-time itself. However, using this power came with great responsibility, and it could endanger the balance of the galaxy. Anrath knew this, but his choices were limited. Either use the power to secure the galaxy's freedom, or prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. But before Anrath could make his final decision, another truth had to be revealed. There was a traitor within the Resistance. This person was one of his most trusted allies. They had worked together for years, fought side by side. When Anrath discovered that this person was secretly planning to control the device's power, the foundation, his world shattered. This traitor harbored a dream of galactic domination. They planned to wipe out the leaders of the galaxy's great empires and rule the galaxy with an iron fist. Secret agreements had been made to turn the galaxy's major powers against one another. Anrath realized that the person he had trusted had been working with a shadowy empire all along. The device was not meant to save the galaxy, but to enslave it. At first, Anrath couldn't accept the betrayal. He had considered this person a friend, a companion through thick and thin. But every action, every choice, and every decision had consequences. This individual sought not to save the galaxy, but to drag it into a greater chaos. And Wrath knew he had to stop them, no matter what it took. To keep the Resistance's leadership and to save the galaxy from ruin, he had to expose this betrayal. He formulated his plan, and Wrath didn't just rely on security forces, he also ventured into forgotten corners of the galaxy. To stop the person threatening the Resistance and the galaxy, he would have to make a sacrifice. The device's power, which had once been a tool for freedom, was now a weapon for destruction, and Wrath chose to use it, even knowing it would alter the galaxy's future forever. The collapse of the shadows. When the device activated, the galaxy began to change rapidly. As Wrath activated it, not only did the ancient data within the device surface, but it also revealed the deep hidden power structures of the galaxy. Every corner of the galaxy had its secrets exposed, hidden alliances, treacheries, and false identities. As the truth came to light, chaos erupted. The deep powers of the galaxy, the empires, and the secret societies had been concealing their true strength for centuries. Wrath used the device to deconstruct these powers, revealing the connections between the galaxy's great empires and organizations. What followed was nothing short of cataclysmic. The empires, once hidden in their separate spheres of influence, now found themselves exposed and vulnerable. And Wrath's decision to use the device triggered an unprecedented upheaval. The leaders of the empires, the so-called untouchables, began to fall as their secrets were laid bare. With every empire crumbling and alliances dissolving, a new power vacuum emerged. The galaxy's rulers were being overthrown by the very forces they had manipulated for centuries. But even as the old order fell, a new challenge arose. A shadow empire, once dormant and now revealed, fought to seize the moment and take control. Wrath knew that in order to maintain any semblance of order, he would have to confront this new threat directly. But this would be no simple task. The galaxy, already thrown into chaos, was about to face an even greater conflict. As this dark empire gained strength, Wrath found himself at the center of a galactic conflict that was both a battle for survival and a fight for control of the galaxy's future. But for all the chaos surrounding him, Wrath knew one thing: the galaxy would never be the same again. The new order. Wrath knew that in order to forge a new future, he had to make a final decision. With the old empires collapsing, the galaxy was thrown into disarray. What remained was a power struggle between the remnants of the fallen empires, as well as the new forces that had risen in the wake of the chaos. Wrath crafted a plan, not only to unite the surviving factions, but to ensure that peace would reign across the galaxy. This wasn't about rebuilding the old structures of power, it was about creating something new. Wrath understood that the galaxy's future depended on the unity of its diverse races and cultures. But this new order required trust, and trust was something that had been in short supply since the betrayal. The ruins of ancient civilizations were now a source of knowledge and hope. Technologies and artifacts long forgotten were rediscovered, helping the galaxy rebuild itself. Wrath used this ancient knowledge to foster unity between the different species and to create new forms of government. But this would take time. The wounds of betrayal and war would not heal overnight. As Wrath looked out over the galaxy, he knew that the peace they had fought for was fragile. There were still those who sought to take control. But for the first time, the galaxy had hope. Hope that this new order would bring about a lasting peace. The galaxy began to rebuild, piece by piece. New governments, new coalitions, and new alliances formed. But in the shadows, the old ways still lingered, and Wrath knew that this fragile peace could easily be broken. However, for now, the galaxy had its chance at a new beginning, and for that Wrath had sacrificed everything. As the stars shone brightly above, Wrath's legacy was solidified. His story would be told across the galaxy, not as a story of a conqueror, but as a story of someone who fought for a better future, no matter the cost.